All right, chat. Mindseye. Interesting. This game looks like it's gonna be crazy. It's like you got the futuristic dodge. Okay. Okay, interesting. Okay, and then you pre-order, you get an exclusive weapon and some other stuff. Interesting, very interesting. I'm curious to see what all they do with it. I'm gonna watch the Q&A chat and then we'll watch the gameplay. Let's see. I want to know more about the game.
Mindseye is a slick, single-player sci-fi thriller set in a futuristic.
I don't care if it could be a really good game. Yeah, no, it seems interesting. It's just like Cyberpunk. The issue with Cyberpunk is that I don't know. Like, I feel like Cyberpunk's a good game. It's not. It wasn't a bad game, but at launch it was very buggy. So a lot of people just wrote it off, but it's one of the best graphical games we have, and it has a really good story, and just it's open world. Like, that's why I always give 2K credit, because they're the only sports game to attempt an open world game. So
Also aims to empower players to design games of their own. Okay. Now, to get some insight into Mindseye, I'm joined by the game's director and founder of Build a Rocket Boy, Leslie Benzies. Welcome. How you doing?
Thank you for having me.
All right. Can you give us a general overview of the game and who it's for?
You play as Jacob Diaz, the handsome fellow in the trailer that you saw there. He's an ex-military guy who, during a covert operation that went wrong, had his Mindseye implant pulled out and caused him to lose his memories. So he heads off to a city called Red Rock, where the game is set, to get answers, and he gets embroiled in a story that's way bigger than he could ever have imagined.
Right.
And really, it's an action adventure, a lot of guns and cars. If you like a very deep narrative,
that looks
this
sick.
game's for you.
Yeah.
But we're also pushing it toward people who want to make games, make their own games. It's got a very easy set of tools in it to make your own missions, make your own gameplay. So the Mindseye campaign, the Mindseye story, it's a small part in a very big story that we plan to tell over the next however many years it takes. So for us to tell that story, we thought it best to be linear.
Oh,
it's
wait.
often hard and
Hold on. I'm gonna unpause it, but he just said years to come. So, like, the campaign's gonna build. That's low-key smart. That's low-key smart of them to do that way. Am I scratching? Did I put a star? Okay, I was about to say it. I put a star right there. But yeah, that's interesting. Like, a lot of games, they kind of have the campaign, it's just done. But if they do this right and they have like a good size campaign at the beginning and they keep updating it, I think that'll reward people. Because you've seen it with No Man's Sky. Like, I bought No Man's Sky, the original one, and it was a good game, but they didn't have co-op and they didn't have all this other stuff. And it got to the point where it was so far away that they were able to just make people buy it again for those features. And I didn't really mess with that. So I hope that it doesn't turn into this for Mindseye.
an open world to keep the story clean.
So Mindseye has a tool within it.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about how that works and kind of what it will actually allow people to do?
Or, well,
Yeah,
you didn't need to rebuy it, because I'm pretty sure I was able to just update No Man's Sky, but they re-released it. my source might be wrong on that.
So inside Mindseye, as you're playing any mission, if you see a spot on the map that you think would be great for you to build your own thing, is hit escape, jump into build, and then you can immediately start creating anything you want. Our key goal is to make this as simple as possible. So you can literally, within 1 or 2 minutes, have a half-decent shootout built. And these tools will continue to expand on them. So every system that we build to make games like Mindseye, we give those tools to players. Because we believe you're all creative. I think, you know, if you were to ask a lot of these guys out here if they'd like to make a video game, I think the answer is yes. So it's putting the power of building it into the hands of players.
Experiences that you build yourself, you can use that kind of, all those mechanics as well?
Absolutely. So every tool that we use to build the game, we will give to players so they can build their games. And we're very excited to see what players are going to build. It's often
so like
they come up with more interesting ways to use the tools and almost hack the tools to build some really amazing.
This was kind of confusing because they kind of only talked about those 2 things right here. But yeah, that sounds like some like Epic Games thing, like, you know. But yeah, wow, 1 million views, 4 mil. And I didn't hear about this until Display came in my chat, was like, oh, it comes out tomorrow. Like 12 million views. Wow, bro. This seems to be a popular game. We're gonna watch the 10-minute showcase just because I want to see some gameplay. Yeah, no, I just didn't realize how popular it was.
From the latter third of the game. And
is this co-op too? I think so, based on how he was saying. He was saying it was you can build your. Let's see. Open world games. Some other dude posted. Oh, open world games is the guy. Let me see.
So guess what?
Okay.
So guess what? Players are finally getting their hands on Mindseye, and we're getting our first real early reviews of the game. I mean, even journalists and YouTubers have struggled to get their hands on this game, so it's good to finally see that there's gamers out there that are actually playing it. But there's also been a lot of confusion about what this game even is, and thankfully, because of these early impressions, we finally get a firm idea of what to expect. And I'm going to be answering the big question.
Okay, that's very GTA-esque.
Right now, or ultimately just wait for a sale. Or hey, maybe you should skip the game altogether and save your money. And hey, I don't mention this too often, but if you are new, welcome aboard, and don't forget to smack that subscribe button if you want more videos just like this one. So yeah, we're going to hop into those early impressions of the game for those that have actually finished the game entirely, and have also explored the free roam of the game as well. But we have to talk about what this game is exactly. That is so important. Because if you're heading into this one expecting something like GTA 5 or another similar open world game, you're going to be setting yourself up for extreme disappointment. So we do have a quote from the dev team, Build a Rocket Boy, clarifying exactly what this game is. So check this out right here. They go on to say this from this article from Eurogamer, who interviewed Build a Rocket Boy. This is the part where the slightly old school sense comes in with Mindseye. The game is on the shorter side by modern standards in around
15 hours.
The 15-hour region, and despite what the team has described as a form of faux open world, that means kind of like fake open world elsewhere, it is fundamentally a linear narrative. It's an increasingly familiar reframe now, as the pendulum slowly starts to swing back once more. And they go on to clarify this, but I think there's something to be said about just like a really meaningful, well-paced, really well-constructed, well-crafted story that players can immerse themselves.
But based on what I think it was the CEO, based on what he said, it sounds like the campaign is going to increase as the time goes on, right?
That got the moment of tension, character development, tender moments, and then moments of spectacle and drama. More on this in just a moment, by the way. through those earlier reviews. Something pitched for that moment when you are at the end of a long day at the office or whatever it is you're doing with your days, just sitting at home and enjoying something that's delivering a meaningful, well-paced story that's respectful of your time as well. So that is the overall mission statement from this game.
And then 15 hours is pretty much on the shorter side because the Spider-Man game DLC was around 15 hours long, I'm pretty sure. So people were upset about campaign runtime. Yeah, so well, this was it was 11 hours. 11 hours. So I was wrong, but or wait, no, that's the wrong one. No, I'm not asking for that one. Let me see. Miles DLC, I think. Yeah, this one was the one people were upset about. The Miles Morales game can be completed in 7 to 12 hours, and then full game is 15 to 18, and people were really upset about that.
We're dealing with in the open world isn't exactly fleshed out at all. I'll describe what you can expect from the free roam experience because I think this is where a lot of you guys will be super disappointed with this game. But if you're going into the game knowing that it's going to be a 15-hour journey or so, and that it is going to be pretty
graphics are tough,
in
yeah.
that regard, and you ultimately expect it to be kind of like the first Mafia, where the open world was the backdrop to the story missions, then you might find something to be enjoyed here.
Yeah, the gameplay looks good.
Into these first early impressions, starting out with this one right here. This dude actually got a copy early, as he verifies right here, and his stuff also lines up with leaked gameplay that I actually got to sit in on and watch. So yeah, there was about 8 to 10 hours of leaked gameplay, and I sifted through a lot of that, and I can safely say I have a grasp now on what to truly expect from Mindseye. But I say we hop into this early impression review right now, starting out with his experience after the initial day one patch. That is super important to know because I read through his entire thread here, and his first impressions of the game, by the way, were horrible until the first initial patch. So check it out right here. So it says this:
Odin Valhalla Rising, now available.
I'm on the
Google
wrong
PC,
YouTube.
exclusively with Google Play Games. Ascend to Valhalla on a larger PC.
Goodness, bro.
Been playing it for about an hour, and I could definitely say you will see more improvements. The driving feels better. The animation of the character seems more smooth, and in total, it works much smoother. But there are still some FPS drops. We'll keep you guys updated, and he goes on to complete the game as we get through this thread. But as you can see, this is after that first initial patch, and he goes on to confirm that yes, you are able to explore the map after reaching a certain point in the campaign. By the way, this is translated. This is a German release here that we're looking at. Now, he goes on to say this right here, that finally he was able to complete the story campaign. The story was good, and it really hooked me up. So far, it's a great game with his technical issues, which will be patched, but there is still one thing which was a letdown for me, and that was the free roam mode. So far as I can say, you're not able to play as a character which you create by your own. The open world in free roam mode feels empty, almost like they forgot to fill it with the details of life like in the campaign. But yeah, even in the campaign, I have to say, after watching a lot of the leaked gameplay, I began to notice, wow, this game kind of feels lifeless within the open world. There's very few pedestrians roaming around. That's a big issue. When we're talking about building an open world, you really do expect there to be, you know, life thriving inside this city, and it just does not seem to be the case compared to even games like GTA 5. But in some regards, the game is beautiful looking. I've seen several comments even on the leaked gameplay video saying, hey, this game actually looks kind of beautiful in some regards, and then in other ways, the technical aspects do hold it back. There's some frame rate issues for sure. Another leak showed vertical tearing.
The game's not even out
that
yet.
Present.
Like,
I have to say
that
the
stuff doesn't
situation with
matter.
this game is very reminiscent of games like Watchdogs and even the initial release of Cyberpunk 2077, where you go into the game expecting one thing and then also feeling underwhelmed by certain aspects, especially, again, if you were expecting this to be a fully fleshed out open world game. But back to this first initial review here, they go on to say this: I really hope that they breathe more life into it in the future. For me, the campaign was the real king which I didn't believe to start after my first playthrough. Now it's time to collect the missing trophies to complete to 100%. And so far what I'm hearing, even from people that have watched the early leak gameplay and those that have actually completed it, is the campaign is kind of actually fun when it comes to the story elements and cinematics. It's pretty much Cyberpunk / iRobot, and from what I am seeing, a lot of Watchdogs in there as well.
Yeah,
and
it feels like
Watch that
Watchdogs.
initial 8 to 10 hours of gameplay, which is a huge chunk of
Which is
the
why I don't
experience,
have an
because
issue,
one
a big
considering it's
issue with it.
only about 15 hours long. I gotta say, some of the cinematics, as you can see here, are pretty legit. Okay, but back to his final thoughts here. He says, story, it took a while to get started, and the earlier hours almost just cutscenes at all. It truly took their time to get started, but after that, the story hooked me up, and all I wanted was to know how it possibly ended. After all, the story was good, and I did see some other first impressions that it takes about 3 hours or so to really get some interesting abilities going, but they set up the backstory, your character, and they really ultimately take their time building this up. So I suppose it's somewhat of a slow burn at first. But we got to talk about the gameplay here. For me, the gameplay felt like it's unfinished. There isn't really a feedback with shooting. Like mentioned before, this has to get some work done to feel better, especially for an action game. Driving was improved, like mentioned before. And
Okay.
yeah, you know, through and through, from beginning to end, as I witnessed this game unfold.
But
you
then
can
again,
tell that
with Watchdogs, the gunplay did feel weird at times. So I think that this game is way newer, so it'll improve.
nothing much really changes with the overall gameplay loop. Expect it to be a lot of cover shooting. You do have abilities with your drone that you can utilize. Yes, there's driving, shooting from the passenger window. There's little mini games to break up the action as well. You could do some surveillance with your drone. I am certain that this does seem very familiar to you, especially if you played any of the Watch Dogs games. And some of you might be down for that. Some of you might feel completely underwhelmed by that statement, but hey, it is what it is. And he goes on to clarify that the gameplay definitely has improved after the patches, but there still needs to be some fine-tuning. And he does mention this right here. Please keep in mind that I don't want to spread hate against Build a Rocket Boy. All I want is to share my experience with Mindseye so far, but it really isn't finished yet. I know that they have some investors behind their backs who want to make more money. And someone did also notice this from the leaked gameplay. Not a single bike in town, and the world is so dead. So yeah, it definitely does feel like this one needed more time to bake in the oven. And our earlier reviewer also shares the sentiment that I've seen time and time again about this game. But to push out a clearly unfinished game isn't the best they could do. It really needs some fixes and maybe some problems which I want.
I kind of just don't. I'm desensitized, bro, because my main games are unfinished games. Like, in my mind, I see this and I'm like, so they're gonna update it because I play freaking 2K and Madden. Man, bro.
Won't be patched at all, but I do hope they will. So I think it's safe to say that this game, in my personal opinion, from witnessing it so far, is very much a game that I think a lot of you guys should wait for a sell. See how it develops in a year from now. Well, let's talk a little bit about the performance. Check it out here. For an action game, it's important to run smoothly. Otherwise, it will truly kill the atmosphere while playing. And it does kill it for me very often. It's just not visible while driving, no. It's almost every time there. But what does he mean exactly by this? He goes on to clarify there is less flickering visible like before, but it isn't gone completely. The LOD works much better like before the patches, but you can clearly see how some textures will pop up while on foot, driving, or flying around, or in the cutscenes. And yeah, from what I witnessed with the leaked gameplay, there are these weird, odd glitches that did happen. Even when driving through the open world, you would hit random invisible barriers. There are some weird, strange physics things going on with the car, definitely. And sometimes, yeah, there were even vehicles that seemed like they were floating off the road when driving them. So it's definitely a very inconsistent experience when it comes to bugs and glitches. We got even more details on the technical side of things. The visuals are looking a bit sharper and the graphics do look good, but there are some lighting problems visually while being indoors. The camera does get some work done too. It often fails to stay where it should be, especially when driving through narrow passages. It often got stuck in the ceiling and switched back in position. There's something that
the game's gonna get patched. I mean, yeah, we'll see. but the free roam world. Let's see.
A lot of you guys are
Mode.
wondering, hey, Rob, you mentioned that there was this free roam mode. So yeah, he was asked about it right here. What can you tell us about the free roam, please? I know it's a false open world, but like Mafia Free Ride in LA Noire, the streets of LA, does it have an option to complete some challenges in free roam? Thank you. Here's the response. You are able to do some activities while on free roam mode. There are some icons on the minimap where you can find it, but I really don't like the free roam mode at all, and you don't have collectibles to try to collect like in Mafia 2. So for now, it's pretty empty and almost dead. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen open world games release an open world with practically nothing to do, and that's one thing I cannot stand when a game does this. So it sounds like this is a big problem currently with this game, but the dev team has a different approach how they are going to be solving this problem in the future, and it's basically two different things that they plan on doing. So yeah, first of all, they have something called build.mindseye, and this is where you, the community, are going to really be building the side activities and content that should already be in the game. And trust me, this actually looks like some work, like actual dev work. I feel like you guys should be getting some commission if you're going to be bringing in users through your creations. I'm just saying. But yeah, essentially the community will be helping out the dev team by building checkpoint races. You'll have stuff like ambush, assault mode, horde type modes as well. And then you can go in free roam and experience these without any like real story content, which because it will have minimal story arcs in it, a lot of you guys might not be interested in this sort of thing whatsoever. But you'll be accessing a lot of this content through like a portal in your apartment, or I guess in the free roam mode you might find some icons as well. But I think a lot of you guys will access this sort of content through your home base, your apartment. But the dev team also plans to pitch in. They revealed their content roadmap for.
Okay. So they're gonna have new missions before fall, and then they're gonna add multiplayer in the fall, and then free roam updates in the winter. When it drops, we can get in core and you can tell me if you like it, because I already bought it, sadly. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it looks like they have multiplayer on the way, and it looks like it's just gonna be a build-a-game, like, which I don't like. I don't like when, like, if it was more like if the open world was more lively and they did it on top of that, it would be a different story. Gonna be multiplayer. I mean, in some aspect, it might be the free roam.
For 2025, they have plans for special collaborations in the summertime, community updates, new missions. We have some extra missions. They also plan on like a horde mode mission type as well, some major adventure updates they call it. But why does it feel like that roadmap is telling us, hey, this is the stuff that we wanted to try to get into the game before release, but we're going to try to trickle in and drip feed this content post-launch to you guys. But yeah, that's definitely how it's feeling like for me, that this game is definitely going to be releasing in an incomplete.
Good video, but I'm still like confused about multiplayer. I want like an answer on the multiplayer. Yeah, I'm still confused about multiplayer. Wait, wrong. Okay. Single player. So it's single player. But their roadmap says. Do they have a Twitter? I assume they post the. Let's see. Mindseye multiplayer. Okay. So this is what it says. Mindseye, an open world action adventure game, will feature online multiplayer functionality but not at launch. The game itself is a single-player experience with online multiplayer planned for in the fall. Okay. And then the source is PC Gamer. So goodness, bro, I'm sick of it, bro. I'm downloading an ad blocker, bro. Give me a second, chat. Like, man, bro, it's just like it's so much worse. Like, I didn't realize how bad, like, all right. Let's see. So I downloaded an ad block and it didn't work. Yo. Give me another second because I'm gonna download the ad block I have on my main browser. I don't even have one on here. Well, that's unfortunate. I'll figure it out. Alrighty. $60 game. Fake open world. Where did he mention? Oh, multiplayer, right here. Mindseye is built to be a cinematic story-focused game with about 15-hour campaign. The game itself is single-player only, but with integration down the line, there's a chance some elements are multiplayer. Okay. So we'll see how far they go with it. But yeah, it's going to be single-player with, like, the open world might be multiplayer in a way. So yeah, it's not a bad game. It's just, it's more like Watchdogs instead of GTA in a way. So that's kind of how I'm thinking about it. I am curious to see like if they do improve it though, because empty Watchdogs isn't really. Wonder why is it getting high level recognition? I think that's why. They have eyes on their gameplay. Like, they have eyes on them. Like, 10K subs, but 3 months ago, 1 million cinematic trailer, 3 million for gameplay trailer, and then they have a story trailer, 12 mil. A lot of this is embeds because I've never heard of this, but a lot of it's embeds because you can see, like, other stuff they drop is nowhere near, like, in the millions, but like, they probably put this on their website, and that's why it has 12 mil. The explainer, so it has 2 mil. And then, like, the launch trailer we just watched earlier, 500K. And then they just dropped the Q&A right before, and it's, like, 2,000. And then they dropped the gameplay, like, just showing off 10 minutes a couple days ago. So, we'll see when it launches. Like, some people might say something about it. Because it looks like it will be a good game. But that's the issue. It will be. Is it going to be a good game at launch? But yeah. Make sure y'all follow the Twitch StoryofMike with 2 eyes. W Display for bringing this game up. So yeah.